Hello, everybody. We're going to be starting in about 5 minutes or so. I'm Mike Sokol from RV Electricity. So stick around. If you get this, you can drop us a quick notification, and we're going to start a countdown. So in 4 minutes and 20 odd seconds, we're going to be doing Power Your RV Camping Off-Grid without a gas generator with special guest Jonathan Schloo from CarGenerator. And yeah, we're going to try this again because we've had all kinds of crazy technical problems, but we want to make sure you guys all get to ask your questions. We will get this figured out. Don't worry a bit. We're here for you. Okay, if you can hear me, go ahead and leave a comment here, and we'll put you up on screen so everybody can see. Hello, everybody out there. I've got my first victim. Okay, I can hear you in Roslyn, Washington, in the forest while boondocking. Now, isn't that something? So I'm Mike Sokol from RV Electricity. Welcome. Having a little bit of fun here. Redoing a webcast we did last week, or I guess a webinar. And Jason says, I can hear Ovenshine, I guess? Yes, I can hear. Excellent. Okay, let's just go ahead and say real quick hi to Jonathan Schloo. Is it Schloo or Schloo?
It is actually Schloo. It's a European last name. My dad was from Germany. My mom's from Switzerland. So yes, it's Schloo.
All my computer stuff calls you Schloo.
Yes, I know. Siri has, and computers have a funny way of saying it.
Okay, well, okay. I guess the same way with Sokol. I get some really weird mispronunciations, but there you go. Okay, well, everybody, welcome, Jonathan. We're going to be discussing a bunch of interesting stuff. So we're actually going to be talking about powering your campground off grid with a gas generator. So let's go ahead without a gas generator. Let's get this all set up so we can run some of this stuff. And yeah, this is open Q&A. As you think of something, go ahead and ping us, and we'll work on saying something. There's about a 20-second delay between when we're talking and when you guys get it. So don't worry if we don't see it right away. Hold on for a little bit, and we'll get right to you. Okay. So let's see what we got here. Here we go. Okay, so let's welcome Jonathan. Okay, so he's the inventor and CEO of CarGenerator. You'll find him at many RV shows and rallies. That's us at Airstream Alumapalooza. Jonathan, you want to tell us a little bit about our last adventure at Alumapalooza?
It was really fun. We were, Alumapalooza is for Airstream RVs, and it's held at the factory, which is in Jackson Center, Ohio. And there's hundreds and hundreds of Airstream trailers, and you get to go and tour the plant and see how they're made. And it's a really fun event. There's lots of people. And of course, that's where I first met Mike years ago. So we hung out. I had my trailer there. We cooked some steak dinner together. Might have had a couple of drinks and talked about. And remember that time the couple needed a ground bonding plug, and I had all the materials in my trailer. We made one for them. That was kind of a cool event too. So yeah, it's a fun rally for sure with lots of great people.
It was, and and I find when I'm at these rallies, I basically, even though I may only have like an hour or so to speak, I kind of get dragged around into all of these little impromptu sessions all the time.
Everyone loves Mike.
And some of the places I actually sit at a bar and they buy drinks for me, and I teach them electricity, which is, I never got to do this when I was an adjunct professor, but all good stuff. So let's keep rolling here. So, okay, so let's just a quick thing while you guys are. Oh, Terry Brown says hi. He was here the other day. He says, hi, Mike
Terry.
and Jonathan. Hey, Terry.
How's it going?
He's back again for more punishment. Okay, so if you want to see more RV electricity articles, I publish at least one a day. It's a newsletter every day. I now have over 700 articles posted on all aspects of AC, DC, solar, and lithium power. I focus on a lot of electrical safety and measurement things. And so you can sign up by clicking on this. For you guys that don't know, my electrical background goes way the heck back into the 70s. In the 70s, I worked for Corning Glass, and I was a robotics packaging designer for all that machinery stuff. And I did three-phase power and troubleshooting. And then in the 80s, I used to, we built and calibrated nuclear missile guidance systems. And then in the 90s, I started my own computer business. I started interfacing computers together. And then in 2000s, I started teaching seminars all around the country on all the technical stuff that I know. So if you've got any questions whatsoever, you ask. If I don't know, I know somebody who does know, and we'll get back to you. Okay, so let's talk about this. Okay, you need more power. I mean, I'm working with a bunch of RVers. I told Jonathan, I said, it was like a crazy day today. I was like fighting fires everywhere. This has to do with power issues and starting air conditioner issues. And I've got guys from all around the country that now is the season. And we've got guys that are boondocking, guys that are just going full time, on and on and on. So basically, campers want their modern conveniences: microwave ovens, CPAP machines, computers, televisions, hair dryers. Stock RV batteries can run out of power after 1 or 2 nights while off-grid camping. So Jonathan, I think you brought me this statistic. You said something about over 75% of campers report inconveniences due to dead batteries. What are you hearing from the field?
That's exactly right. And in fact, one of the biggest issues with that is the anxiety. We actually call it battery anxiety, where people worry about it, because if you're boondocking, you've got a great campsite and your batteries are starting to run low and it's 5 o'clock at night and the sun's starting to go down. The anxiety that people worry about: will I run out of batteries? Will my fridge go dead? Will I have lights tonight? All those things. It's a pretty significant issue with people when they're boondocking.
And I've had a few people talk to me and they say, I've got to decide if am I going to have some soup or am I going to make my coffee? And I'm like, good golly! I mean, we're getting down to the nitty gritty here, guys. Shouldn't be that crazy. We're hoping to show you a few ways to get around that. Yeah. What you were saying, Jonathan?
I said tough choices. That's all.
It's tough choices. That's right. Now the one thing we're going to show you too, you can get 10 times the power of an average 100-watt solar panel from your tow vehicle. With a little gadget here that Jonathan invented, but we'll show you. We'll get more on that towards the end of this. Okay. So this has to do with RV battery selection. Now, when I first started playing with batteries when I was a tiny little kid, it was all carbon cell, and then there was NiCad, and there was all this other stuff. And of course, we've had flooded cell batteries, lead acid batteries, going back over 125 years or so. Even though flooded cell batteries, the cheapest to buy initially, lithium batteries are the new kids in town, cost a lot less in the long run. Flooded cell and AGM batteries should only be discharged down to about 50% of their amp hour capacity for longest life. You can do it. You can go all the way down to 0 and back up to 100 and 0 to 100, but you'll probably go through the set of batteries in one camping season and you will not be happy campers, as they say. Lithium batteries are great, even though they're a little more expensive. They charge faster. You can discharge most of them down to 0% state of charge without damage. They're much lighter, giving you more energy for the same amp hour size. Okay, now, I think one of the really interesting things that I've seen, and I've been to a number of large shows here in the last year. I was teaching at the Hershey Show, teaching at the Tampa Show. The year before, I was out of Quartzsite. Where the heck was I? I was in Okie from Muskogee a couple of weeks ago. There's a lot of misunderstanding about solar panel sizes that you need for things. So I've come up with a couple of basic ideas. So here's one. If you install a 100-watt solar panel with a 100 amp hour AGM battery, you won't be happy because you'll run out of juice. I mean, it's just that case. If you install 1,000 watts of solar panels and a 100 amp hour lithium battery, you won't be happy either because you will charge your battery up rapidly, but you'll run out of juice in the middle of the night. My own trailer, I've got a 600 watts of solar and a 400 amp hour lithium battery and 3,000 watt hybrid inverter, which is a good balance. Let's see. And Jason just posted something. He says, lithiums don't even seem to be more expensive now. I got 200 amp hour lithiums for $500, which is what I paid for a pair of AGMs a few years ago. Yeah, they're coming down in price. So Jonathan, what do you have in your Airstream? You've got, you still have AGMs, is that correct?
Yep, I have a set of 4 AGMs that they're on their last season, and I'm going to replace them with lithium this year. My charger controller, my power converter is a lithium, fully lithium capable. It's a really cool one. But yeah, I've got the lead acid AGMs right now, but they'll be switching to lithium very shortly in about a month or so.
And I'm sure you're going to be doing some reports from the road.
I will. It's some pretty cool stuff. It's pretty amazing what you can do with lithium. You can actually run air conditioning on that with the CarGenerator. We're going to talk about this later. You can stretch the available amount of power that you can get out of either lead acid or lithium batteries to give you a lot longer stretch time. So yeah, lots of cool things.
Yeah. And one of the things that's interesting, instead of having to run a generator or something for 5 hours to charge the batteries up, if you've got enough amperage, you can charge a lithium battery up in somewhere from an hour to 90 minutes. It's
absolutely.
It's pretty darn cool. Okay. So let's talk about energy. So everybody gets confused with this power or energy stuff. How many of you did not like physics or chemistry in high school? How many of you, let's see here, how many of you loved physics and chemistry? Yeah, that would be me. Yeah, I was that kid. I was a geek before it was fun to be geeking, right? It was no good to be a geek in the 60s with glasses, let me tell you. So let's get through this. This is easy though. This is just arithmetic. Okay, so now watt hours is the number of watts of energy produced over 1 hour. So if you have 100 watts for an hour, that's 100 watt hours. Now, solar panels are rated in watts, but watts by themselves don't mean anything. What you've got to do is consider how long it needs to run. So a single 100 watt solar panel makes around 300 to 400 watt hours of energy. Notice I didn't say power, I said energy per day, depending on the latitude, the time of year, tree shading, dirt, all that other kind of stuff. And so basically that's the amount of energy that we could put back into our battery. So, and it just adds up. So if you have 200 watts of solar panels, it's 600 to 800 watt hours. If you had 400, it'd be 400 watts of solar panels, it'd be 400 to 1600 watt hours of energy. And you've seen watt hours in your own electric bill at home, but they come in kilowatt hours, thousands of watt hours in home. Batteries, not so much. So let's do a little conversion into amp hours of batteries. So an amp hour of batteries need to be converted into watt hours if you want to do a comparison. So a 100 amp hour lithium battery, if you want to know the watt hours that you've got available, you look at the voltage. So we're saying 12.5 volts times 100 amp hour, or 12.5 volts times 100 amp hours is equal to 1,250 watt hours. So a 400 watt solar panel could produce, if you basically divide it down, if you divide 400 watt hours by 12.5 volts, a single solar panel will make somewhere around 32 amp hours. So if you have a 100 amp hour battery, right, and you've got 400 watts of solar panels, you could see it can charge that up in 100 divided by 32, somewhere around 3-ish, right? Ish kind of thing. So 3 hours to completely charge that. Not so bad. Now, if you have a single 100 watt solar panel, it can take much longer. Well, because, well, by golly, you're trying to charge that 100 amp hour battery with something that's only 10 to 12 watt hours, right? Or 10 or 12 watts of power. So again, a single solar panel can take days to recharge that battery. So let's talk a little bit about flooded lead acid versus AGM versus lithium batteries. So customers tend to underestimate their needed battery capacity for boondocking. So a 100 amp hour lithium battery has actually 100 amp hours of storage that's available. An AGM or flooded lead acid battery only has a usable 50 amp hours. So in my background with this, a lithium battery can power a residential refrigerator for maybe 10 hours, or a 12-volt Danfoss refrigerator for up to 30 hours. So 12-volt DC refrigerators use a lot less power. But if you have an AGM or flooded lead acid battery, that you cut your time that you can run in half. So Jonathan, what do you have in your Airstream for a refrigerator? I know it kept the beer cold, so that worked.
I have one of the Dometic refrigerators, so I run off propane gas when we're off gridding, just because it only uses gas, and you can run those fridges on gas for a month easily on a tank.
Yeah. I've got to interject here. I did some calculations here, last year, and a buddy of mine said, just how much power is there in a lithium battery or compared to a tank of propane? And I said, well, here we go. And I did a little finger and toe counting, while I was sitting there chatting with him on the phone. And I said, I think it will take for a standard 5 pound, so a 20-pound, 5-gallon tank of propane has approximately it would take 100 batteries of 100 amp hours each to equal the same amount of energy. Good golly. And then I said, I'm not sure, maybe I'm off a decimal place. So I called him up the next day and I said, I was wrong. It's 101 batteries. 101 batteries. So 3,500 pounds worth of lithium batteries to equal one 20-pound tank of propane in terms of just energy. And if you were doing this with lead acid batteries, it would take 200 lead acid batteries that weigh like 15,000 pounds to do this. So things that need heat, guess what? Or, a lot of energy, propane has got your highest energy density that you could get, short of having nuclear, I guess. But all the other stuff, you can get away with lithium and solar and all that other stuff. Does that make sense, guys? Lithium battery upgrades. Again, flooded cell batteries are cheapest to buy initially. Lithium batteries will cost you less in the long run. You can recycle, you can power them up and down thousands of times. Just think of your cell phone, how many times that thing gets charged and discharged. So again, flooded cell and AGM batteries should only be discharged down to around 50% of their amp hour capacity for longest life. And lithium batteries, the older ones, they only wanted you to take them down to 10% or whatever, but now they add extra cells in. Their battery management controllers are better on this. And they actually, if they advertise, so many amp hours of capacity, I found they have pretty much those amp hours of capacity. Okay, so lithium state of charge. Now, one thing that you're going to need if you do a conversion from flooded lead acid or AGM to lithium, you're going to find that your little monitor in your RV that shows you your state of charge is not going to be good any longer, because you could go look. An AGM battery is at fully charges right around 13 volts. Whereas a lithium will be around 13.6. When you get down to 12 volts or so on an AGM battery, you're about 50% state of charge. I tell people when your 12-volt battery is down to 12 volts, you're done. That's pretty much it. But you can see that you can be down below. Down to 12.6 volts, and you still have you're down to 9%. So what will happen is your battery status meter will stay really, really high for the longest time, and then it will just plummet. And people think there's something wrong. You just need to add some sort of a lithium state of charge meter. You can get things like a smart shunt. So these guys hook between the battery and the rest of your inverter or solar system or whatnot. And their job is to let you look, and you can see how much charge is going into the battery, how much charge is going out, what kind of voltage it's got, all the bits and pieces of it. So if you're going to be installing lithium batteries, you may need to add some sort of a monitoring system just so you know what's going on. Although some of the latest batteries that I've been working with are Bluetooth capable, and you can just look at the phone or a little wall module that you hang there, and it'll show you all kinds of stuff like that. So I think that's pretty cool. Another thing is, will my converter work? So if you use a stock flooded lead acid AGM converter to charge lithium batteries, they will probably only charge your lithiums to around 85% state of charge. The voltage is not high enough. However, if you add some solar panels and an MPPT solar charge controller set to lithium, basically what will happen is the solar panels will in fact bring that up to that last 15%. So that's one way to do it. So you can use your main charger to charge the batteries up most of the way, and then the solar takes over the rest. However, you can replace your converter with a lithium rated unit, get more current, faster charging and everything. Jonathan, I think you said that you already have a lithium capable converter. Is that right?
I do. I put a hybrid converter in my unit, so I can either run lead acid or lithium. When I convert to lithium, I'll just go into the menu and switch it over to lithium, and it'll manage the charging voltages and everything super, just very simply, just by changing that.
Cool. Load center upgrades. So now, if you haven't changed out the whole thing already, you can go to Progressive Dynamics, WIFCO. They offer these drop-in replacement charger modules. If you've got older load centers that are not lithium capable, you can just get the little module drop-in. You don't have to throw the whole thing away. But you got to be careful. Don't upgrade your converter amperage output without checking your existing wire gauge. I've actually done this a couple of times where famously last year, where I had a 10 gauge wire that was sitting there just running stuff, and I cranked my thing up so that I was now running 100 amperes through a little 10 gauge wire. It was right in front of me, and I'm looking at this and I'm going, that looks hot. And I literally touched it with my finger, and it was molten plastic that I touched with my finger. And it's like, you know how that last second when you're getting ready to do something and something's saying stop. It wasn't quick enough. So yeah. Now, again, one of the beauties of this is if you do have enough wiring gauge, you can go ahead and up the amperage, which will make your batteries charge faster. So that means you don't have to charge them overnight. You can charge them for an hour. You can use a CarGenerator on them for an hour and get most of the charge back up. So there's a couple of real big advantages to having an actual lithium rated converter. So here's the other thing. They used to have 3 and 4 stage converters. The newest ones, they're just 2 stage. So they're in charge and idle mode. So at full charge, they do somewhere around 14.5 volts, 14.5 to 14.6, up to 80 amps or so. I've got one deck charger, it's 100 amps. Then it idles down to 13.6 volts and to provide DC power for your RV electrical system. You need to install heavier battery wiring if you upgrade to a higher current converter. So don't melt your wires. Don't do what I did. Don't melt your wires. Okay, fast generator charging. So here's a lot of people don't quite understand. So they think that if you have an 80 amp charger, that you have to have an 80 amp output of a generator. And that's not true. There's a 10-to-1 ratio between 120 volt current and 12 volt current. So a small generator can fast charge a lithium battery remarkably well. So even 1,000 to 2,000 watt inverter generator works great for lithium battery charging and can get those things charged up within a couple of hours. So an 80 amp lithium charger can recharge a 100 amp hour lithium battery in just under 90 minutes. And if you upgrade your converter to high current, you'll need to rewire the battery, as I've said, and this is great to supplement solar power, because in case the sun doesn't shine, you want to be able to get as much power in it as quickly as you can. So let's talk a little bit about RV furnaces and CPAP machines and air fryers. So a lot of people don't understand, and I'm seeing this right now because I said I was fighting fires all day. I got people calling me up, and they're running out of battery power, and they don't understand. This is their first camping trip. They go drive 500 or 1,000 miles for their first camping trip with their brand new thing. They said, I'm putting these batteries in, and I'm leaving tomorrow on a 1,000-mile thing. And I'm going, ooh, guys, what if something goes wrong? Now, you may not want to think about it, but guess what? An RV furnace can take up to 8 amperes of current at 12 volts to run the fan and the controller. So in 12 hours, it can completely discharge a 100 amp hour lithium battery. Half of that time for a flooded lead acid. I've got people that have called me and they said, I turned that on at like 7 or 8 in the evening, and 2 in the morning, I woke up, I'm freezing. A CPAP machine can draw 100 watts and can discharge a 100 amp hour lithium battery in 12 hours. So, Jonathan, I believe you have a CPAP machine, do you not?
I do have a CPAP machine, and what I can share about that is that it depends what you run on it. If it's just the fan, just the blower motor itself, then it's very minimal. But if you run the heater, the climate control, the humidity, it's essentially creating a heater. It's basically like heating an element that uses up a lot of power. So it just really depends if you need to have the heated air, or if you're just using. I personally just like the feeling of cool air, so I don't use the heater, and it's quite efficient that way.
So one of the things that I found, my arch nemesis are air fryers. Now, we like an air fryer at home, but I've got people that absolutely insist that they have to have an air fryer in their RV for the kids, because they don't want their kids eating, unhealthy food while they're camping. But I think camping is the time for eating whatever the heck you want to eat. But that's just me. But so, for instance, they'll have an 1,800 watt air fryer. So an 1,800 watt air fryer will only run for 40 minutes, and then it will completely flatten out a 100 amp hour battery in 40 minutes of runtime. And that's about how long it takes to make air fried stuff. It's kind of, so, you need more batteries. I had the same thing with people doing, coffee makers, and they've got to have their cappuccino maker, and they've got to have this and that and the other thing. I'm a humble guy. I'm not so complicated for coffees. I actually will use a French press when I'm camping. Oh my goodness gracious. Some people say, no, don't let it be so. My grandparents had on the farm a percolator, one of those blue things with the white speckles and the little glass thing on the top, which we would watch go blub, 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 blub. Yeah, what can I say? But if you want it, you can do it, but it just takes more batteries, that's all. Solar charging now. So I think if you want to go off grid at all, you need at least 200 amp hours of lithium batteries. 400 amp hours is even better. But as Jason was noting, yeah, they're getting cheaper. I'm seeing more manufacturers offering 200 amp hour batteries because it's less wiring, right? And so, yeah, more is better. So basically, 400 amp hours is equal to 5,000 watt hours. Oh, mistake there. 5,000 watt hours of 12 volt battery storage. So it would take a single 100 watt solar panel 12 days to completely recharge it to 100% state of charge if you had 400 amp hours of battery. So see why you've got to really kind of balance these things. 600 watts of solar panels, that would be 2,400 watt hours per day, could fully recharge it in 2 days, which is reasonable. Maybe you need more panels than that, but I'm just telling you, this is the arithmetic here. Don't shoot the messenger. 120 volt refrigerator generator, residential refrigerators are popular in RVs, but they require an inverter. So I was just talking to a customer today, and he was trying to run a couple of air conditioners off of a 30 amp outlet, and that's difficult enough as it is. Then I find out he has a 120 volt residential refrigerator, which is another 4 or 5 amps. And he also had a water heater, electric water heater in it instead of a gas one. And so he was drawing another, I guess, 12 amps or so for that. And I said, well, you're adding up to like going on 50 amps. He says, well, let's trip the breaker real quick. That's exactly right. So the things that heating elements need to be run on gas, if you can, on propane. The newest refrigerators, RV refrigerators, use 12 volt DC compressors. I think, Jonathan, all of the new Airstreams, right? 12 volt DC refrigerators. Am I right?
Yes, they do. Yeah, they phased out the gas absorption fridges. There's some pros and cons to those. They're a lot colder. They do use DC power and everything, and they use power, but they're a lot colder. You've got more room in them. They stay colder at warmer temperatures better. There's a number of different benefits to that.
And what I found is I've done a lot of experiments. I've got a Dometic refrigerator. I had a Vitrifrigo refrigerator. I've got a variety of batteries here. I get more stuff to play with than I know what to do. I powered a 12 volt DC Dometic 10 cubic foot refrigerator for about over 32 hours. Just in moderate temperatures, 75, 80 degrees, be less if it was much hotter. But a 120 volt residential refrigerator with an inverter, flattened the same battery in 16 hours. And that was a lithium battery. If this was a lead acid battery, it would be like half of this, like 8 hours maybe. It would kill the thing. Again, depending on the heat load, the delta T, how hot it is in there, and what you're trying to do. So one of the important things to do is load your fridge up with all your cold and frozen items first before you take off. Don't start putting the stuff in and expect it to cool down all of your stuff in one shot. Best to pre-chill your items. Okay, powering off grid. So Jonathan, you want to talk a little bit about this because this is your forte.
Yep, for sure. So when you're plugged in a campground, it's, of course, if there's no questions, there's no challenges. You basically just plug in your big power cord, you plug into water, you plug into sewer, and you have unlimited resources. However, when you're off grid, the challenge is managing those resources, and getting power is one of those things. So the options for getting power off grid are gas generator. That's the good old standby. They're loud, they're heavy, they're smelly, and they require monthly and yearly maintenance. So gas generators are one way to do it. Solar and wind is another. So there's people that have solar panels, and I will say when we got our Airstream first, it had 5 solar panels on it. And I was really excited. I thought, wow, we can go off grid anywhere, do anything we want. But we kept pressing the cappuccino button and using power for things like that. And we found out that we actually needed more power than just the solar. Now, on the other hand, there's some people, they're really extreme. I've actually seen where they don't even use the lights in their RV. They just have those, the LED headlight, and that's all they use, and they're extremely thrifty with power. But the way I look at it, you bought an RV to enjoy it, so use the power you want in there. So solar and wind. A solar generator is another kind of option. So that's a good solution if you're the kind of person that changes your RV frequently. if you like to be able to switch your RV, or you don't want to really invest all in this RV that you're going to keep forever and ever. A solar generator are good. They're basically plug and play. They're a big unit. They're about 100 pounds typically for the larger ones. And you can basically, it's a way to add lithium batteries and charging capability to your rig, but they're expensive and they're heavy. So a DC to DC charger is a really cool device. It basically lets you charge your trailer at high speed. Mike's going to talk about that later, while you're underway. And then CarGenerator is a great device. So if you have a trailer and you love to be off grid, or you occasionally go off grid, but you just want a way to get backup power, or to get power to recharge your batteries if you happen to run out of power, then CarGenerator is exactly for that. You basically start your car. It's about the size of a backpack. It weighs 11 pounds. Start your car, attach it, plug it into your shore power cord, and it'll charge your RV batteries exactly like you are connected to the grid. And the bonus is that all of your outlets light up in your RV, so you can watch TV or charge phones or do other things like that. It's kind of a great way to just get that backup power.
And so, okay, so Ed just said all the charges and costs, Mike, you are whatever. Ed, if you will finish your statement, we'll put it back up here in a minute. Terry says, what size of wind turbine would produce enough energy when traveling in an RV? Okay, well now, okay, you're not, okay, and of course, I've had
going
guys,
down the road.
Well, no. I mean, it sounds like that. I've actually had guys say, why can't I just charge my electric vehicle and I'll just put a wind turbine on the top and I'll get that energy and put it back in. I have to explain them to, physics and, conservation of energy and all that. So think about it. If you had if you want to replace, a couple hundred watts of solar panels, then you need a turbine. It's pretty big. They don't have like, 3 or 4 foot diameter. I've seen a couple of guys doing these, clamped with a pipe, and they hitch to their RV. And this thing's terrifying because it looks like a big ceiling fan kind of hanging sideways that's whipping around like crazy. You need significant stuff, but it's not just that, it's the mounting of it. So let's say that you had a cabin in the woods. I would absolutely go put some solar panels up. I would go put up a nice permanent structure and put a wind turbine up there, maybe, a 500 watt turbine or so. And, it would be great. But, so Ed says, talking me into keeping my lead acid properly maintained batteries. Thanks for the great info. Appreciate it. So for example, if you maintain your batteries, and a lot of people don't understand this, if you religiously check the electrolyte level, the water level on this, and you don't let them get much below 50% and of the time, and there's also a couple of things that you can do. It's put your charger in desulfation mode. Lead acid batteries can last for years. And in fact, if you are, as Jonathan said in the beginning, if you go to a campground and you just plug in, I got guys that just yank their batteries out. They don't even use them at all. And so it all comes down to, what your style wants to be. I like wilderness camping. I don't like plugging in with a bunch of other people. I am sorry. I just don't like other people in the woods. I want to be me in the woods. But that's all. That's just how that is. Other people love the camaraderie. You take the grandkids to the big campgrounds, and they've got all this other activities for them. I want to go a little fishing, a little hiking, but again, a little contemplating. Maybe I'll write my next great novel there. Who knows? But yeah, if you're happy with what your performance is, and you will maintain them. I've got people that will just never check the water level. And, what will happen is those things, the water level will get down so low that they'll start gasifying like crazy if you're on a charger, and then they'll spark inside, and then the top of them will blow off, literally an explosion. Boy, ooh, Oh, we got another interesting. So Dean and Nani says, how about 48 volt systems? Okay, I'm actually building up a 48 volt system here because I can. So now the key to remember is 48 volts, the only advantage that 48 volts has over 12 volts is you can run skinnier wires for longer distances. It doesn't necessarily give you more power. So for example, I have, and I'll show you a picture of it in a minute, I've got a master volt system with a 400 amp hour battery that wants to charge at like 240 amperes. And it's got a 3,000 watt hybrid inverter and all the bits and pieces of it. Everything is all of that stuff is built real close to each other. There's no real advantage to a 48 volt system for that. I've seen a number of Airstream, Mercedes Sprinters, and they have the Volta system. It's a 48 volt system. It's equivalent to 10 batteries, right? So it's like 10 batteries, and it has a 52 volt alternator. So they are able to run all this heavy wiring around, but it's much lighter in weight. It will run the air conditioner for 10 or 12 hours off the battery. You go down the road, it charges the battery in 2 hours. Now, this is a $250,000 RV. Everybody got an extra $250,000 laying around. If you did, it'd be great. But if not, well, you got to be a little more cheaper as we go. And so I think that things like DC to DC chargers help where you're going down the road. CarGenerator is a really good solution as an extra backup power system for when we're doing things with not quite the Volta system that you'd have in a Mercedes. So again, Jonathan, you want to talk a little bit about the generator stuff here?
Yep, for sure. So this lovely picture is compliments of AI, of course. But generators work, and they're okay, and some people really love them. And to those people, I say, that's great. I'm very happy for you. Keep on loving your generator. But you have to bring extra containers of gas. And you'll need to buy a quiet inverter generator because you don't want to be one of those people, the annoying neighbors that bring the giant, annoying, loud contractor generators and are starting them at 7 o'clock in the morning to make their coffee. That's just really not great. And quite honestly, a lot of state campgrounds don't even allow generators to be run after certain hours. We went recently, actually last year, to a radio-free campground, which sounded appealing on one hand. On the other hand, I walked around and all I could hear was generators running because you got the constant engine noise. So CarGenerator is very quiet. It's as quiet as your car. So that's the gas generators, people are very sensitive to them and they know the noise. But with CarGenerator, it's just your car idling quietly, and most people don't even notice that. So, and of course they're heavy and they can be hard to start. I was at a rally, an RV rally last fall, and someone had a 7,000 watt generator in the back of their Ford pickup truck. And they had 2 big steel ramps, and it took 3 guys to lift that thing and unload it out of the truck bed. And it's great. You can run everything. You can run both air conditioners and the microwave and sit in the hot tub outside if you want. But really, that's a lot of hassle and a lot of weight just to have that. So yeah, your car's a lot quieter in terms of that.
Yeah. So I have a 7,000 watt Honda. Actually, I have a lot of Hondas. I have a 7,000 watt Honda, a 3,000 watt Honda, a 2,200 watt, and a 1,000 watt Honda, plus a variety of other generators of various pedigrees. You know how I get mine in and out of my pickup truck? I've got twin boys that just love showing off that they can lift stuff. And that thing's like 240 pounds. So it's beefy. If I had ramps, I'd get it in and out. Even that 3,000 watt one's like 110, 120 pounds. I mean, and I can hump it up there, but I don't want to hurt my back anymore. I've had enough. I don't need to practice lifting heavy things. So you're right. So that becomes part of the issue. They're heavy. Solar power limitations. They can greatly increase your off-grid camping time, but there's limitations. You need enough battery storage for when the sun isn't shining, night and on cloudy days. We've had all kinds of cloudy days here, and then sunny days and everything. We had 2 nights ago, we had 2 inches of rain in 2 hours. I mean, this is wow, like flooding everywhere. So now, each 100-watt solar panel you've got can generate around 300 to 400 watt hours of energy per day if the sun is shining. And remember, a 100 amp hour lithium battery stores around 1.2 kilowatts of energy. So basically 4 days of 100 watts of solar panels to recharge a single 100 amp lithium battery. So you'll need at least 400 watts of solar, 200 amp hours of lithium battery for weekend boondocking. It was just, you do. So here's me, my little Geo Pro. This thing is really so fun. It's a little toy hauler. This is air suspension and all those other fun things that you could want. It has a single 400 amp hour lithium battery, a big honking thing in there. It has 600 watts of solar panels and a 3 kilowatt hybrid inverter. It works great. It's a master volt system, but it really needs around 1,000 watts of solar. 1,200 would be better. But why can't I fit 1,200 watts of solar panel on the roof? Because it's only a 19-foot toy hauler. I got no room. It's got whatever I've got all I can get. So I've got a couple of those little suitcase panels that I can add, or I can supplement this with something like a Jackery or one of the other so-called solar generators, because I will use that for running my outside refrigerator. You know, I'll generally bring along one of those little refrigerator coolers. The guys, my friends over at Z Grills have offered to send me one of their camping portable pellet smokers, which I'm going to take out on a couple of shows. I normally do that in my own backyard, but I want to be able to go do this. I want to enjoy smoked meats while on the road. So there you go. Okay, now, Jonathan, you got to talk about this one, because this is another one of your AI generated masterpieces.
That's right. This is again generated by AI, and it's a picture. So don't do this. This is a trailer with a whole bunch of solar panels and a whole bunch of wind turbines attached. I think you're trying too hard when you do this here. So it's true, there are some trailers, and I met a guy that had 2,000 watts of solar on the roof. But you know what? It's a lot of installation. It's a lot of money. And then the craziest thing is that he ended up selling that trailer and not keeping that trailer. He went to a totally different one, and he had a hard time getting anyone to buy it and getting any of the value of what he put, I think, $10,000 or $12,000 worth of panels and batteries and everything into that. So don't do what you see in the picture here.
Yeah. And okay, so another thing you can use, we talked a little bit about DC to DC chargers. So you don't have to totally depend on solar. So now you can get some charge out of your 7-way trailer plug, but the current, is limited to maybe around 4 or 5 amps, maybe 60 watts. So you really can't fully charge RV lithium batteries to 100% state of charge off of that. Your tow vehicle alternator, the output voltage is too low. But a DC to DC charger will let you fully charge your RV batteries while driving, and it protects your alternator from too many charging amps, because you got to be careful. If my 12-volt battery in my trailer wants to charge at 240 amps, you know what that would do to your alternator? Unless you had a real special alternator. So we don't like that. So I've got ones that I've played with from Red Arc, Victron, and Renogy. And I've got like a 40 amp Red Arc I'm going to install in my truck here, I think, later this summer to play with. Many of them, you can get up to 50 amperes of DC to DC charging. And it boosts the alternator voltage up to about 14.5 volts for lithium. It limits the alternator current to 40 or 50 amperes or whatever to prevent damage to the alternator while you're driving down the road. But they need heavy wiring and Anderson connectors. So, whoops, oh, I've got too many buttons here. So it'll be these big honking things here. These are about the size of your hand that clamp together. And you will need to run heavy duty wiring from the alternator of your tow vehicle, the battery of your tow vehicle, all the way back, and then have this quick disconnect. This works really, really well. The nice thing about this is whenever you arrive, you're all charged up. However, if you've got solar panels on the roof of your RV, you can do the same thing. When you arrive, you're fully charged. There's a couple of issues, though, with some modern trucks that don't like that higher voltage from solar panels and lithium. And when it backfeeds into your brake controller, it makes your brake controller in your truck shut off. It says, got a problem, you need to shut off your engine. Of course, you're going down the road 70, 80 miles an hour with a fifth wheel, and now you got no electric brakes till you turn off the ignition. Yikes. So I'm working on that little problem. Oh boy. Solar generators. So here's one of my little setups here. So this is fun. I've got solar generators. I've got them from Jackery, Southwire, EcoFlow. No, I don't have an EcoFlow. Jonathan's got one. Bluetti. They're a great way to augment the power in here. And the nice thing is you can go take that thing and do other things. You take that solar generator, and as Jonathan said, when you're done with your RV, you can go use it for other things. I've got a couple of small bands that I've outfitted with these little solar generators, and they're going out and doing busking things. I mean, you could play on a desert island if you wanted to for weeks, I guess. That's a little more humble, but they don't have to worry about running extension cords. But these solar panels are not cheap. They can cost as much as a solar generator, and you got to carry them separately. Hybrid inverters. A standard pass-through inverter powers your RV from the battery or shore power, but not both at once. So a hybrid inverter has this ability to mix the shore and battery power together as needed. So you can set the inverter to the maximum amps that you want to allow it to get from shore power. And then when your RV needs more than that, say, you set it to say 5 amps or 10 amps or whatever. If your RV needs more than that, it takes it from the battery and adds it back in and uses it. And when you need less than that, it puts it back in. Jonathan, you've been using hybrid inverters for as long as I have. You want to talk about what you did for yours?
Yeah, I discovered hybrid inverters a couple of years ago, and it's a complete game changer. So I love the fact that wherever we go, I can dial it up or dial it down. So for when a 30 amp connection, I get my full 30 amps. If I'm near a friend's place, I can just dial it down to 14 amps. When I go to rallies, a lot of times you go to rallies, they have a low power connection. You can dial it down to a lower amount. But what's really great about it is, say you were staying at a friend's house and you were plugged into their garage or to their power, you can set your input amperage to say 14 amps. And then if your air conditioner needs 15 and a half or 16 amps, it'll just borrow the power from your batteries. And then when the compressor shuts off, it'll recharge those batteries again. It's a really great way to do that. Now, if you have a lithium battery setup and a hybrid power converter, you can also stretch out the runtime that you get. So say as an example, you're running your air conditioners. If you have lithium batteries, there's a certain amount of time you can only run it for 4 hours or 3 hours or whatever it is. Using a hybrid power converter, instead of the air conditioner taking all 160 or 180 amps out of your batteries, it takes part of that out of what's coming in from the car and part of that from the batteries. So it really lets you stretch out your battery capacity a lot longer if you need to and you're running heavy items like that.
Yeah, and again, this is a matter of of, you have to do manual load shedding, and you never think about this in your home, because your house is good for 200 amps at 240 volts generally. So you got like 48,000 watts worth of energy, watts worth of power available. You only have 3,600 watts available on a 30 amp receptacle. This is why you have to be much more, how should you say, use a lot less power compared to your house. And whoops, there we go. Your hybrid inverter flow that you can take, you can add in stuff, your PV, which is your solar panel, voltage panel. You can add utility power and or generator power and or battery power. So it will go and just add these things together, whatever you need. So you can use a smaller generator to run your RV. So I've actually used my little I have a 1,000-watt Honda EX generator, which I've used to actually run my hybrid. I have what's called a Combi Master control in my Master Volt, and I can dial this down and say, okay, I only want this to maybe draw 7 amps, 8 amps, whatever. And it'll do just a fine job. Just keep sticking that 7 or 8 amps in there. And then I can run air conditioners. I can run all kinds of things. And especially if I'm not running at 100% duty cycle. So if the air conditioner is only running half the time, then it only needs half the amp hours or watt hours of capacity to do it. So yeah, these are really, really slick, and very few people understand that. I would just want to do a whole class just on hybrid inverters. Now, generator alternative. And like I said, I met Jonathan and I thought this was the coolest gadget out there, and it's all ready to roll. Jonathan, you want to talk a little bit about how this works, how this fits into this whole picture?
For sure. So CarGenerator is an alternative instead of having to lug around a gas generator. So if you think about how often you use your gas generator, it's surprising. One of the most common things that people do after they buy a CarGenerator is they sell their gas generator. I was at a rally last fall, and a gentleman bought a CarGenerator, and the next day his Honda gas generator was in the swap flea market, and he sold it because he had traveled around for about 4 months with that thing in the back of his pickup truck and never used it once, and just really didn't want the hassle, the smell, the storage. So CarGenerator is a really easy way. So it's the size of a backpack, and you just hang it on the front of your car with a built-in strap, and you plug in your shore power cord and you've got power. So the calculation in terms of how much power you can get, if you call your vehicle dealer and ask the parts department, give them your phone number, ask the parts department, they'll tell you how many amps your alternator is. So say an example, you have a 200 amp alternator, you get half of that at engine idle. So the calculation is 100 amps times 12 volts is about 1,200 watts. Now, if you have a diesel truck, diesel vehicle, you can up idle most of them. You can press a button or turn a switch and it'll go to a higher idle speed, and that gives you significantly more output. 1,000-watt CarGenerator can recharge a 100 amp lithium battery in a few hours, and really it's a backup for the solar panels when the sun isn't shining. So lots of other YouTubers, RV geeks are well known, a couple of guys that travel around, and they love the CarGenerator for exactly that reason, because they went on a trip for a couple of weeks and they have lots of lithium and they got solar and they got all those things. But one thing we know for sure about the weather is it's unpredictable. You're always going to have some sunshine, some rain, and to try to build your life around that, you really need a backup plan. And that's what CarGenerator is. There's no fumes, there's no gas cans to store, there's no worrying about will it start, because your car always starts. So if you can start your car, you've got power. And another really important thing is it's fully rainproof. And so it doesn't need routine maintenance. So a lot of times you will need power for your RV in bad weather conditions. Imagine you're in a beautiful campsite. You're all set up, it's by a beautiful lake, you're in the woods, it's wonderful, and you're gonna have 2 days of cloud and rain. Well, you want to have power. You might want to do things inside your Airstream. You want to read or relax or watch TV or work on your computer or whatever. And that's exactly why. So CarGenerator is fully rainproof. And one other thing, it does double duty. So you can use it both for backup power for your RV, but I use it, and many people use it for backup power for their house. So if the power goes off at your house, occasionally when it goes out, you can just start your car and hook it up, and you can run your fridge, you can run your home gas or oil furnace, you can run your freezers. A really important one is sump pumps. We did an addition on our house, and we now have a sump pump that pumps out water on a regular basis. So if power goes off, you want to have a backup plan so that the water doesn't start coming into your basement. So it covers a lot of different things. CarGenerator is there for the good times when you're camping and for the bad times when your power's out at home.
I will note, whoops, one sec, let me back this up. Hey, Terry sent us another thing. He said, stationary, talking about wind turbines. I agree that a wind turbine could be beneficial. Some vids on YouTube show RVers setting up a turbine as they travel. I just don't see moving and setting it up, moving across the United States. Yes, I would agree.
Terry's right. That's a lot of hassle.
That's a lot of hassle. If I had a beautiful little cabin, mini house thing, tiny home that I wanted in the woods, man, I'd set that up. I would be great. I'd actually probably, if I had a stream, I'd probably dam it up a little bit and put in a water wheel.
Yep.
But that's not what we're talking about here. You're not going to let you do this at a campground. So let's see here. Oh, did we skip one? No, there we go. So again, lithium batteries, if you have a way to charge them as a backup, really an effective way to do this. I have a 1,000-watt car generator, and it's really equivalent to about 10 100-watt solar panels, and you can charge them anytime. Now, Jonathan, you've done tests. Yours fully compatible with what? EcoFlow,
Yep.
Jackery, Bluetti.
Yep, sure does. So people use this as well if you get a solar generator and you need to fill it, refill it, or recharge it without solar panels. It's a very easy way you can do exactly that. You can just start your car and feed that power into your solar generators, and it works great. It's just there's a lot of people that just don't want to have all those portable solar panels. They take up a lot of room. You're moving them around your campsite. You got to turn them with the sun shines, and then you're kind of stuck at your campsite if you even think about going away, to get an ice cream and then come back and all those solar panels might have disappeared. So it's just a lot easier. And really, one little 11-pound car generator is equivalent to 10 100-watt solar panels. A lot less hassle, a lot less weight, easier to store, and it works even at night or in bad weather completely.
And okay, so again, you're just basically, and I've got some pictures here how easy this is to hook up. So you're just generating 120 volts AC off your car generator. So
Yep.
You start up your tow vehicle, right?
Yep.
You attach it. Why don't you tell them how you hook them up?
Yep, really easy. So with a 1,000-watt model, all you do is it has built-in heat-proof jumper clamps. So if you've ever jump-started a car, it's that easy. You basically attach those jumper clamps and start your car engine, and that's it. We also have something called a quick connect, which is a plug that basically lets you plug in. And our bigger units, the 1,500-watt, we make a 1,500-watt car generator, a 2,000-watt car generator, and a 3,000-watt car generator. All those different models all use the plug only because they need to be able to transfer the power at full speed. Now and it's light. It's 11 pounds, no maintenance, just nice and quiet, less emissions. It uses about the same amount of gas as well. So we've shot videos showing a car generator versus a portable gas generator, and they use about the same amount of fuel. Now, the downside of it, if you're the person that you're going to camping in Florida in July with double air conditioners running, then this is not your solution. You need a full gas generator, and you've got no choice in that case. But like a lot of people, they plug in most of the time, or often, and they just want a backup plan, and that's exactly what CarGenerator fits in.
And so here's me with my little Nissan truck. I did an experiment. So I had a 1,000-watt car generator. Whoops, let me get my picture on here. There we are. I'm here. I'm back. I hooked that onto my my 1,000-watt Jackery Pro, Explorer Pro, I believe. And guess what? It charged it up in less than 90 minutes. No strain. I think I was drawing 70 amps or so from the alternator while I was doing that. And that seemed to be a really slick little system. And again, whoops, too many buttons here. I don't know why this is jumping around. This is one that you used. I think, Jonathan, I believe this is your, was it your brother's Bluetti?
Yep.
Is that correct?
My brother bought a Delta EcoFlow.
EcoFlow, that's right.
EcoFlow Pro. And I took that, and it's kind of cool because it just plugs directly into our Airstream. That's another way of doing it. And then the cool part is that I'm now charging that solar generator directly from CarGenerator. So you can use those solar generators and just use the CarGenerator to fill those back up again.
Yep. And now for RV charging, again, you can, 1,000-watt one can supply, you can easily get 60 amps of DC current from a 1,000-watt car generator, right? That works great. And you can see in the bottom, right?
Yep, and you can see on the bottom, that's the plug. You would just plug a regular 15 amp to 30 or 50 amp dog bone, we call it, converter plug. You just plug it right into the car generator, and that's how easy it is to plug into your trailer.
And this all works just plug and play.
Yep.
Oh,
it sure
so
is.
now just whoops, too many buttons. Stop it. So now I think, we finished. There's the main thing. There is a CarGenerator deal here. So there's a May 2024 promotion. You want to tell them about that, Jonathan?
Yep. We've got a really cool promotion. So if you buy your car generator, if you any car generators that are purchased before the end of May, that's today or tomorrow, by midnight tomorrow, you get a 5-year premium extended warranty at no additional cost. So just tell your friends, place your orders, and any order that comes in before the end of May, you get a 5-year premium extended warranty. So you don't need to do anything, just automatically any car generator order that comes in will get that 5-year premium extended warranty. The other thing to know is that if you order Bluetooth, it's by Victron Energy. So if you have Victron systems in your trailer, it's compatible with that. And if you have a smart plug system, CarGenerator is fully compatible with your smart plug, with any smart plug system. So it works great with smart plug, with Victron Energy, and it's plug and play. It'll work great with your trailer.
And so there's a code up here. I mean, we'll have the code down in the section, but you could just click on QR code right in the upper corner there if you like.
Yep.
Or it'll be down in the actual comments section on your info. So there you go. Yep. Just one other quick thing here. There's more of me. If you want to see more, if you want more of me,
who doesn't want more of Mike? We want more of Mike.
I write a lot. Now, you think I write a lot for the RV industry? I've been writing for the pro sound industry for 40 years, 40 years, maybe a little longer. I have 5,000 articles. I mean, I used to publish for the magazines all the time. I wrote stuff in newspapers. I'm all over the place. I won't drag you to all of the crazy stuff that I used to do, but the RV stuff is right up your alley, man. I've got over 700 articles that I've published here on my Substack. You can go to rvelectricity.substack.com. If you click this QR code, it goes to an archive of my past articles. I'm trying to figure out how to put them together in a better library. I'm an electrical safety expert. You know, I was originally OSHA trained in how to keep electricians alive. while we were working on high voltage systems. We want you to be safe and we want you to have fun. That's why I think CarGenerator is like a really excellent solution for that sort of thing. So you can click on there, or, you can email me anytime. And so now we are into the Q&A, ask us anything moment here. Let's see if people need any more information from us. What do you guys think? Any more questions, or have we filled you guys up with enough knowledge?
I think we might have answered a lot of the questions.
I think we did. Yeah, we did. Yeah. I think. That's no problem. What I really liked when I was an adjunct professor, I could walk around and just kick desks and kick kids to wake up. Actually, I taught pro sound. I taught how to mic drums and guitars and this stuff. I did not have anybody sleeping in my classes because they were loud classes. They gave me an entire theater was my classroom, which was really kind of cool for that kind of stuff because, I am a live sound engineer. So let's see, we're going to be giving you another minute. Any other things that you've seen on the road lately, Jonathan, that's interesting that you like while we're waiting for them?
One of my favorite cool things for an RV, it's got to be the micro air thermostat. That thing, that's really cool. That's a replacement thermostat. You basically just unplug, it's like a telephone jack, and you plug in your new one, and that thing is cool. It's Wi-Fi enabled and Bluetooth enabled, and I can, going down the road, my wife can turn the temperature up in the trailer in the back behind us, or can turn it down, or whatever we like. That's a really cool.
A lot of the communication stuff is really, really great. Yeah. And so I've seen one that allows you to go, and you set min and max temperatures. I'm trying to remember the name of it, but it's for if you have to go camping and you want to have your dogs and leave your pets in there, and it'll warn you over a cellular connection. If you want to go hiking, you don't want to take your dogs with you. You want to go to dinner or leave them in there. And that's one of the tragedies of this is you want to make sure that your pets stay cool with this, and it'll warn you. Let's see. Terry says, just waiting for my 1500 CarGenerator to arrive. Anxious for it to get here. Jonathan.
It's on its way.
Tell Terry it's on his way, man.
It's on its way, Terry.
Anybody else? Okay. If not, we'll just give one final thing here. There's your thing to click, right? And beyond that, let's see. Whoops. I guess if I actually would click the button, you could actually see it. I'm sorry. There's too many buttons. So there's your buy now right now for a couple days. And we really enjoyed having you. I think we've got all of the bugs worked out of the notification thing. What had happened was some of the notifications went out an hour after the thing started. Some people never got a notification. Some of them got one that was wrong that didn't work. And I'm going, good golly, can anything else go wrong? So this is Murphy's Law. I think we've got the bugs worked out. Let's see, Bob Smithing says, great talk, enjoyed it. I'm going to try to do some more stuff like this. Some of these will be with Jonathan. Some will be some other technical guys. If you like this, send me, whatever info that you want, what you want to see covered. And whenever it's applicable, we'll get Jonathan to jump in. If you want some really heavy duty stuff, guess what? I know some really heavy duty guys. It's a little, I work as a translator between, engineers and regular people sometimes, because those are both the worlds I walk in. All right. Well, very good. I'm glad you guys all enjoyed it. Thank you so very much. Please leave any comments down there, and thanks for spending your evening with us.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, guys. Later.
Thank you.